Welcome to Tip Off on this November 6th, late edition, 9:53 in the morning. Jazz win in Denver. We got a great show for you today. I'm David Locke. Blah, 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 pow. Look out. We got a big show. First of all, I'm rested. Little family dynamics. The daughter is in St. George for a softball tournament with my wife, so my son had to sleep over at someone else's house because there was no parent home because we try not to just home alone it. And so I got to sleep in. So I slept in, and then I just decided to build you an awesome show on a Friday, and so that's what we're going to do. How's that? I also decided that Friday is going to be PAAC day. So PAAC is my stat that is points above average created, a way to evaluate offensive players and evaluate teams. And I think it's pretty good. It said Portland was going to be all right, which might be true. And we're going to look at that. And I actually just ran the numbers, but I haven't looked at it yet. I have what Steph is doing is going to be insane. So we'll look at that. Then what I have been doing all morning is, and I don't know if this is going to work as well on one thing. I want to show you the subtle difference between closing out on a three-point shooter correctly and incorrectly in this league, which is a little bit where stats feel screwed. And I'll show you that. There was two Randy Foye plays, and there's one Rodney did well I can't find, which is too bad. And then Alec Burks' passing last night was awesome. Jazz made a major change in the way they were playing. So we're going to look at that. So that's the plan. I hope you're fired up for it. I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA Insider. You can follow me on that whole Twitter thing at @LockedOnSports, as you may already know, or well, I haven't put the little thing below me that tells me. I had a fan made this for me. How cool is that? It's like the coolest little thing. And now I need someone to make me one that says Locke and Boone for Postcast. I hope you know this, but after every game, we have a bunch of different things for you. So Postcast is available for you after every game, which involves Ron Boone. It's our little post-game show. It's about 9-10 minutes long. Yesterday's was cool because it had the interview with Gordon Hayward. I do Empty the Noggin, which is a write-out. And I'll give you the backstory on Empty the Noggin. I used to do Empty the Noggin just for myself because I can't remember games. You asked me what we did in Miami. Actually, Quinn did yesterday. He said, what did we do in Miami last year? I was like, I had no idea. I seriously cannot tell you. I just don't have the brain power. I just can't do it. I can't tell you a single thing about you name a city. I can't tell you. I mean, I can remember that Gordon hit a shot, but I couldn't remember anything other than that against Cleveland. So that's not, my brain doesn't do that. My brain's weird, but it does some things well, not that. So I write those things up so I can remember the last times we played things and get memories. And then I started publishing them. So that's what Empty the Noggin is. And then there's also Jazz Game Rewind, which we've really put at a higher level this year. It's put together by our production people. And the concept between that is if you miss a game, it's supposed to give you a real feel for the game, including an extended play-by-play sequence of the game. So last night, you'll get the major run of the third quarter, and then some other highlights and plays of the game. And you should be able to kind of go to the water cooler in the office after that and be able to talk to your buddies about the game in case you missed it. Or if you watched it on TV, God forbid. No, that's fine. I'm kidding. And you really wonder what it sounded like on radio with Ron and I, then you can go back and hear it that way. So that's how that works. All right, Pins Across the World is our fun little feature we do each and every day here on the show. Feel free to send me yours at dlock09@gmail.com. And what it is somebody who listens to the show and kind of the background of where they listen to it and from where and all of that. It's been really fun. And I want to say thanks to the guys in Denver that said hi to me. A guy came up to me and said, you said on tip-off you want people to say hi. I said, I do. So how are you? All right. My name is Mikolaj, Mikolaj. You can call me Nick. All right. That's much easier. You can add Warsaw, Poland to the list of places that listen to Locked On Jazz. I'm a Utah Jazz fan. Since the first time I saw an NBA game back in 1997, I was watching the first finals game with Chicago, fell in love with the game, talked to my older brother into watching all the finals games with me as a kid. The way to watching sports is to pick a player that you like and cheer for him and his team by consequence. My brother picked John Stockton, so I ended up with Carl, and the whole organization really made an impact on my life. I thought that if I cheer for the Utah Jazz, I had to listen to jazz music. So it was so obvious for a child. I love it. So so now a few years later, I still am watching, cheering on the Utah Jazz, and I play jazz on a guitar, mainly as a passion, sometimes as a job. That's so cool. I write this email to thank you for the amazing job you're doing. I listen to the podcast every day while cooking dinner, and it's my way to really consider myself a true jazz fan. I can't afford a trip to Utah to watch a live game, but thanks to Tip Off, I feel somehow included in the Utah Jazz community, and thanks for all that. Great, Nick. Awesome. Thanks for all the mistakes. I make English as my third language. Mistakes? It's my first language. I make more mistakes than you do, Nick. Awesome. So add Warsaw, Poland to a pin across the world. If those who don't know, they're jazzfanmap.com. A jazz fan put together a fan map, and you can go to jazzfanmap.com. All right, let's do the NBA 5, which will include PAAC. But first, Thunder tied last night with 5:07 left against the Bulls. They can't get a stop. Bulls scoring 8 of their next 9 possessions in that game. I went back and rewatched. That's the other thing I did today. I rewatched the final 5 minutes. They put Cantor in the pick and roll. It was a Westbrook Cantor defensively pick and roll on Rose and Gasol, and Billy Donovan switched it, so Cantor ended up on Rose the whole time. A little surprised by that. Not a little surprised, a lot by surprised by that. Miami went into Minnesota to win 96-84. I really feel for the Timberwolves. I don't know when you can start evaluating if they're any good or not, just with the emotions they've been dealing with. Charlotte blows out Dallas in Dallas, 108-94. I'm telling you, there are weird things going on with home and road, by the way. Road teams were 3-2 last night again. And there's just these strange blowout games on games you wouldn't expect. And I think I would say that Chicago and Dallas is one of those, or Charlotte and Dallas is one of those. Charlotte offenses, when I guess it's clicking, it's exploding. 108-94 last night. Interesting in that game, Dallas held Chandler Parsons for the second half. That is so limited that they just decided to play him in the second half. And then the story of the night is hello, Portland, we hear you. The Blazers are a playoff contender. People want to just dismiss this, but let's go back to the PAAC analysis at the beginning of the year on the 15-16 PAAC projections. I had Portland at PAAC 1.3, which when equalized with other teams had them as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th best offense, ahead of San Antonio, ahead of New Orleans, ahead of Phoenix, ahead of Utah, as the 8th best offense. No idea how to rank where they were defensively. The interesting one, though, is on my PAAC system. What I had, my whole system is you equalize to 100 possessions, but that's flawed. It's got a problem. I'm trying to develop it. I develop these things with you a little bit. PAAC to teams. I really have done very little PAAC to teams, is I guess what I'm trying to say. And so what I have tried to discover is the analysis is what do you do when a team is when it's over 100 possessions. That's easy, right? You just bring it back down to 100. But what do you do when a team is over 100 possessions, is under 100 possessions? So, for example, Portland last year was, of Portland's players, they were all positive PAAC players. And PAAC, for those who are new to this, you're going to hear it a bunch today. It's points above average created. It's how I evaluate a offensive team, is points above average created and an individual player. So if you use 10 possessions and the league average on those possessions is, right now the league average on a scoring opportunity seems to be 1.05. And so you should end up with, somewhere around 11 points in those possessions is the way it works. If you're 12, then your PAAC is 1. If you're at 9, your PAAC is -2, if that makes sense. So here, I'll use an example. Here, let's just actually do an example, an easy example of this so far this year. Hassan Whiteside, I'm picking someone, or actually no, here, Jeremy Lamb of Charlotte uses 10 scoring opportunities a night. His points per scoring opportunity is 1.38. League average is 1.05. So if The average player in the NBA went and used 10 possessions right now, they would score 10.5 points. Jeremy Lamb, on the other hand, using 10 possessions a night, is scoring 13.8 points. So his pack is a really high 3.4 points above average created per game. That's about ninth best in the league right now. So the average player is at 0 and negative players behind. So we took it out to teams this year for the first time, and there's some flaws to it. But nonetheless, the point of this is that Portland came out when equalized to 100 as the 7th best offensive team in the league. The Warriors were 1, Thunder 2, Mavericks 3 if they're healthy, Rockets 4, Memphis 5, Clippers 6, Sacramento 7, Portland 8, Phoenix 9, San Antonio, New Orleans tied for 10, Jazz at 12. Then followed by Denver, the Lakers, and Minnesota in the West. What Portland's got going right now is pretty good. Last night, they had it going again. Lillard, 18 shots, 27 points. McCollum, 18 shots, 20 points. And then they just work it around. And everyone else is getting good looks off of this. Last night, they went 15 of 30 from 3. 30 of their 87 shots were 3, and they went 15 of 30. And McCollum and Lillard scored 47 of their 115 points. They blew out Memphis. Memphis has gotten waxed a few times. All right, let's get to some Jazz. Let's get to PAAC. Let's do our Friday PAAC. All right, I have actually that last second looking at Jeremy Lamb was kind of the first second I've looked at this as I have. Sorry, my phone is ringing. It's probably NBA TV for Saturday. All right, let's do a little screen share and look at PAAC. I have this great show for you. Now all these things are happening around me. All right, here is PAAC. So no surprise, Steph Curry leads the NBA in PAAC at 11.2. This is non-sustainable. Last year, the PAAC leader was Steph Curry again. Not a big surprise. Or it was Durant actually, but he didn't play enough at 4, and Steph Curry was at 3.9. Okay, let's go back to the 11-12 season and see if Kevin Durant was the best at 3.2. James Harden, then on Oklahoma City, was next at 3.05, worth noting. The 12-13 season, I must have been doing some Danilo Gallinari searching here because there's Durant was the best at 5 point. That year, 12-13 is the year Durant and LeBron were unbelievable. Both of them PAAC at 5. Usually the best in the league is at 3. The Durant in 13-14 was 4.8. LeBron was 4.5 points above average created. So the point is that's about the best there is. And here we've got Steph Curry at 11.2. Steph Curry's true shooting percentage right now is 76%. The league average true shooting percentage is 52.4 right now. And effective field goal percentage is way down right now in the league. The usual average effective field goal percentage is 50%. It's down at 48.2 right now, which is a little interesting to see. So the league average PAAC is 0, by the way, if you're wondering. All right, so Steph Curry is number 1. Blake Griffin is 2. Giannis Antetokounmpo 3. Kevin Durant 4. Hassan Whiteside 5. Jeffrey Laverne has only played 1 game, I think. I just have it sorted by minutes. Doesn't count. Greg Monroe is next for Milwaukee. Interesting. Glenn Robinson hasn't really played enough, I don't think. Jeremy Lamb playing well. Jonas Valanciunas, Brock Lopez, J.J. Redick, Damian Lillard, Dirk Nowitzki shooting at 63% true shooting percentage, Jordan Clarkson, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Martin, Tony Douglas, Kenneth Faried, Clint Capella, Bradley Beal. Those are kind of the leaders in PAAC. Let's go down and look at the guys that are done the opposite end of things, the worst PAAC players in the NBA. Andrew Wiggins Wow, I didn't know this. I'm seeing this for the first time. Robert Covington, I think he may have only played one game so far. Yeah. And Jabari Parker's only played one game. Joe Johnson, Monte Ellis in Indiana, one of the worst PAAC players in the league. So what this means is just to make sure you understand it. Monte Ellis uses right now 11.6 scoring opportunities a game. And Monte is, if the average player used those same possessions, they would use 3 points. They would score 3.7 points more than Monte Ellis. Corey Brewer, J.R. Smith in Cleveland, Stanley Johnson, the rookie in Detroit, struggling. Markeith Morris in Phoenix, negative. Emmanuel Mudiay, who we saw last night. This does not count for turnovers. Mudiay would be even higher. Derrick Rose. So Rose has a good game last night. Everyone's going nuts. Here's James Harden at -3. Elfrid Payton, Jameer Nelson, Matt Barnes, Danny Green minus. Interesting. Vasquez in Milwaukee. Nerlens Noel, Kobe Bryant, as you'd suspect, -2.6. Victor Oladipo, -2.5. Darrell Arthur, D'Angelo Russell. The rookies are always in here. Sasha Vukovic, Ish Smith, Trevor Booker. Certainly, he before last night was struggling. Evan Turner, Terrence Jones. Very early in the season, but that just gives you an idea of who early in the year is doing what they're doing. And I think the logical thing you're all wondering, I was going to do this on a different day, but it would seem really weird, is to do Utah. Actually, I got to do a data clear because some of our players wouldn't come up. So in our Utah right now, and I believe that the key to having a good team is that every player has to be above average PAAC. Joe Ingles is the best PAAC player on the Jazz right now, followed by Trey Burke, who has been traditionally one of the worst in the league. Congratulations. I'm just so fired up and rooting for Trey. Rodney Hood. Here's a disturbing number on Rodney Hood, by the way. Rodney Hood is going to the free throw line 2.6% of his possessions used. Might be the lowest guard line in the entire league. I love the 36% three-point shooting, taking threes, even if he's only hitting 25%. But that number's a little disturbing. Alec is fabulous up at 15.5%, but his is disturbing. At only 6.3% of his shots are threes. So you got to work those two. So really, right now, the Jazz have Joe Ingles, Trey Burke, and Rodney Hood as the only above PAAC players in the league. I have the question and answer up, by the way, if you have a question or answer that you want to ask. I am curious, and so I'm going to take a quick gander here. Quick gander on Portland. I have Utah still in there. So Portland has Myers, Leonard, Allen Crabbe, and Noah Vonleh below average. But otherwise, Lillard's at 3.1, McCollum's at 2.1, Al Farouk, Mo Harkless. This is why they're good. They have every player above average other than those. That's kind of the key there. Sacramento is a team that I thought could be good this year because of PAAC, but with the injury to DeMarcus Cousins, it's hard to tell. And Ben McLemore has been disappointing, and Rudy Gay has been awful, and Rajon Rondo is awful. So that's part of the reason why they are struggling a little bit. And frankly, they don't have anybody playing particularly well in that regard. All right, well, that's worth taking a look at. I hope you found that of interest. The Jazz last night, we talked about on the broadcast all night, was that they were just very low on catch and shoot last night, or going into the game. And the fact is they were last in the league in catch and shoot opportunities. The Jazz were shooting 39% of their shots were catch and shoots, which is the lowest in the league. Last night, they were at 53%. So last night, over half their shots were catch and shoots, largely because Alec had 8 assists and really played a beautiful game last night. And we'll look at 2 or 3 of Alec's assists to Joe Ingles last night that were just terrific. But that was a huge change in the game last night by the Jazz, was the way they moved the ball. They talked to them about it. They had a film session with the guys, and they really did a fabulous, fabulous job last night in all regards to that. And it was the key. It's the key. That's what was wrong with the offense. It was pure dribble basketball. We had the fewest amount of shots with low amount of touches. And we have bouncers. Rodney, Trey, and Alec's instinct is to bounce the basketball. And that makes it a more difficult game to play than otherwise. Moreover than that, our bigs aren't very good passers. So when you look at the teams that are really, really good catch and shoot teams, Memphis kind of runs the highest catch and shoot of anyone in the league. And this can be as simple as a pick and roll where Trevor just touches it and puts it up and in, as we saw last night off Rodney Hood. But those are, Memphis has got great passing bigs that create opportunities like that. Our bigs aren't very good passers. It's where Ingles playing the 4 does really help our offense. Trevor Booker was terrific last night to come back from behind when you have Derek Favors out was that's a big deal. And that's a good win last night. Any road win's a good win. Any road win in the West is a good win. And particularly coming off as bad a performance as they had against Portland, which may turn out to not be as bad as we thought, because all of a sudden New Orleans, Memphis, and Utah have all had the same experience going up against those guys. They may really have something going on here that is kind of going to be the surprise league. They have a great head coach in Terry Stotts, and so it's certainly possible that they could be putting something together there that has everybody a bit surprised. All right, let's go take a look at Alec Burks had 2 just brilliant assists last night, and this is, where Alec's game is evolving. Here's the thing that's so great about Alec, by the way, and this cannot be underestimated, and that is Alec's desire to be really good, and more than that, Alec's desire to be a really, really good teammate. His want to is high, and his effort to do things correctly is through the roof. And it's can't be underestimated how important that is. I'm going to screen share with you right now, but what I was going to screen share just disappeared. Oh, I know why. All right, let's go back to screen share. Here we go. And I believe we've learned that if I full screen this, you get it. So let's take a second and watch this play, because this is really special basketball by Alec Burks. So it's the end of the second quarter. The Jazz bring it up, and I think we're clipping a little on the video, but I'm going to stay with it. And it's a high pick and roll with Rudy. If you watch on the far side here, Ingles is where he's going to get the ball, but Trey's coming over to bring his man. Gallinari doesn't really want to leave, and Joe's going to move up. As Alec comes into the pick and roll, the over-shifted play by the Nuggets is actually pretty good here. Fareed is dropped off Gobert because he's not a threat. Booker's in the right corner. He's not a threat, so Arthur's dropped in. And watch Gary Harris. Gary Harris is right here on the Denver defense, is the key guy to watch. And as he steps into the lane right there, Alec makes the perfect read. And this, we're going to talk about this. He's come in as he's supposed to, try to help out, cut off Alec's drive. But that's the perfect read by Alec. Once Harris is there and he's overdone it, then Joe's open for a beautiful catch and shoot 3. It's so basic. I mean, but that's a play we weren't making. We weren't getting to the backside for a play that basic and that simple. And that's how teams defend in this league, is that they overload sides, try to keep you down. Alec did nice. There's a lot of aspects of that. Alec's pick and roll was high enough so that on the right side, so that he didn't get totally pinned. He kept a passing window open. He kept his head up on the drive. He didn't pre-commit to his drive to the point by which he had no choice of where to go. He didn't get himself in too deep, as he often does with that. That was a really beautiful, beautiful play by Alec. All right, let's screen share another one with you. This is the end of the third quarter. These are both end of quarter plays by Alec Burks, and they're both terrific. This one is really terrific to me. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hide the audio now that I've gone full screen. So we'll just have to listen to Marlowe and Hastings. Sorry. So that's the block. That's the block. Oh, wait, I got the wrong play, but we got to see that. That was totally worth it. That's a beautiful assist by Alec as well. All right, that was awesome. We got to see that because I wasn't planning to see that. That wasn't the play. I just hit the wrong button, but we got to see the Gobert block, which was awesome. But also, that's a good fast break, and we have not run good fast. We are last in the league at running fast breaks well this year. So that was, that's Alex got to be able to run those fast breaks well. He's got to get the ball in those circumstances, run it well, and he did there. All right, this is the one I wanted to show you. So here's the Jazz, end of a quarter again. Trey starts up with it. Quinn says, wait a sec, let's go to Alec. And now we're going to go to a 1-4 flat set, a little different, with Trey lifted on the left side, which lets Alec work. He wants to get to his left hand. Ingles is on the far left corner. He's going to end up with the ball here. Jazz are going to – you've got Hood. It's a nice spacing, right? This is the small lineup. This allows the Jazz to space a little differently. And here comes Alec, pick and roll. They switch it, which no surprise. So now he's being guarded by Will Barton. There's no advantage anywhere unless you're going to go to the post. And Alec is going to do what Alec does, and he's going to beat his guy with his left-hand drive like he wants to. Gallinari digs in. This is just a basic one-level read. Sometimes Alec struggles with the second-level read. This is it. There's the defense. Now, instead of forcing, boom, beautiful kick out. Joe Ingles, catch and shoot. Bam. But that's sharing the basketball. That does help you have a small lineup on there when Favors and Gobert on the floor together. It's a little harder to get that. But that's a beautiful, beautiful play by Alec. And he had 8 assists last night, and it completely changed who the Jazz were. All right, this gets really subtle and may or may not be completely visible to everybody here. But there were Randy Foye last night got an open 3 where I thought it was a good example of playing defense correctly, but not correctly. So, in other words, like if the defender, who happens to be Alec on this, I really wish I could do this without names, because it seems like you're isolating a guy out negatively, which is really not my intention.
He has absolutely improved his jump shot from the last couple of years, where he couldn't throw a beach ball in the ocean stand.
So Randy Foye is going to be the guy, and he's going to get an open 3. Randy's on the far right corner here. He's going to be guarded by Alec, and Alec's going to actually do everything correctly except for impact the play. And this is going to be the difference between, being in the right spot, and that's where film study here is kind of weird. So Jazz guard this as they do. Trey wants to trade. The only problem here, Trey's supposed to be attached. Trey's defense was really good last night. He's really battling. So they make this pass up top to Arthur. Then they get into some action. Here's a dribble handoff. And Trey Burke, look at really good defensive play right here by Trey Burke. Steps in the lane. This is exactly what you're supposed to do. Look how the Jazz have nicely clogged up the middle. Really well done. Very good by Trey. Trey's the key here on this defense. And so the pass comes out. Jokic is going to try to set a pick on Trey. Trey's busting his butt to get back defensively. Now, Alec, right here, this is very subtle, but look at Alec. He's just kind of standing up. He's in the right spot. Not in a defensive crouch. Everyone else is kind of in a defensive stance. And the pass comes back out to Randy. And Alex, look at Trey's reaction by this point is already made. Alex gets out, but Randy's got way too much airspace to take the shot. It's deep. It makes it tough to guard. But if you kind of watched Alec a minute ago, you saw his hands flare out wide as though he's ready for the drive. Got to know your personnel. You're going to Foye. You're going to run him off. And while that's contested, right, that looks contested, you really kind of look back at that and you can see, wow, that's actually not as, contested as it could be probably. And it's subtle, right? Alec was in the right spot at the right time. He just stood up a little bit tall. It's very subtle, and he's doing the right things. And again, I wish I didn't have Alec a name on it because Alec's really busting his butt defensively, trying to do the right things. His want to is there. He's getting better. It was nice to see Trey really make a good defensive play there. Now, this one's a little different, but I think I was looking for one which Foy missed, and it might have been Nelson from where I was last night. I couldn't even tell the difference between the two of them. Where I forgot to take the volume off again. All right, you guys have it? Yeah, it looks like you have it. Okay.
Yes,
and this is going to be another deep Foy. Gordon's guarding. So pick and roll right side. Trey does a nice job getting through the pick. Hayward's got the weak side defense. You see Randy Foy's going to start veering up. Hayward's down as he's got to be. And Gordon's pretty far away from Randy Foy at this point, right? But the way it works, Gordon's got to get attached to this lower guy. Nelson's got to the paint. Booker's slid over well. Everyone's kind of doing their job correctly. Here comes the pass. Look at how quick Gordon's reaction was to getting back out to this shooter. And there's a lot of space to make up. And Gordon, with a little extra length, able to alter it maybe just a little bit more. I mean, just a really subtle, tiny difference right there of the difference between getting a defense and a shot going and not going. And unless you slow it down and and frankly, on stats view, both of those go down as contested shots, which is really not accurate at all. I was trying to find another. There was one Rodney Hood defended really well on. But I can't find it. And to some extent, this is maybe where some analytics is really valuable. Like, why would a team suddenly not be as good defensively with one player on the floor than another that you didn't expect? Well, maybe it's little subtle plays like that. Yes, it is snowing outside quite a bit. That's what, if you can see the pure white back there. So anyway, I don't know if that last part resonated to you, but I wanted to show that to you and have you see that subtle little difference there. Literally the difference between being in a defensive position so you can get out to the shooter compared to being standing tall, having to get down and then go is sometimes the difference between a guy getting a look or not knowing your personnel. So, I got to get all the way out to this shooter, hell or high water. I'm just going shooter rather than stopping for a second in a defensive stance. Those little tiny subtle things are the things that Quinn is harping on, the habits he's talking about. All of those kind of things are what's being talked about. Really good game last night by the Jazz. 53% of their shots were catch and shoot. Alec was terrific. Hood conducted the offense late. 17 minutes of the triple wing offense last night that really helped the guys out. Trey continues to play super well with a great defensive effort. Trevor Booker's play filling in last night was terrific. So a good night. This is not going to, the other day at practice, Quinn went on kind of a rant. It's going to be a fight every night. It's going to be a fight every single night. And it is. We're not good enough that we're just getting out on the floor and beating people with pure unadulterated talent. I've said this a lot, but if you do the draft every night, so tomorrow night, let's do the draft. The first pick of the draft is Marc Gasol. The second pick of the draft is probably Mike Conley. The third pick of the draft is probably Gordon Hayward. The fourth pick of the draft is Derek Favors. The fifth pick of the draft is probably Zach Randolph. Is Favors better than Randolph? I don't know. Zach's pretty damn good still. Fourth pick of the draft is Zach Randolph. Fifth pick of the draft is Derek Favors. That's all just out of respect, I think, for the years and abilities and understand the game. The sixth pick of the draft is Rudy Gobert. Okay. So, we're close. We're the third, fifth, and sixth picks the way I just did it. I don't know if that's totally right? I'm kind of making this up as I go along. I hadn't planned on this. Who else? Now what are we deciding? Well, they get thin. Tony Allen, Rodney Hood, Courtney Lee, Brandon Wright, Beno Udre. Gets close. Okay, but we're not out-talenting them on Saturday night, right? We're not out-talenting them on Saturday night. Got to play. And got to do all the subtle little things. It's a fight every night, right? We lose the draft badly in Cleveland on our on our road trip. We lose the draft badly in Miami, I think. Win the draft in Orlando, lose the draft in Atlanta. And then we get Toronto undefeated. Head to Dallas for a quick one. Oklahoma City, at the Clippers, New Orleans, and Golden State. Woo! I'm telling you, I told you, no chance you're above 500 after November 30th. The schedule's brutal. Then start to make some hay in December. All right, we'll see. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. Talk to you soon.